I love it. Yeah, I'm like obsessed with Baker. Like, I'd love to. Are you in an RNO? Yeah, I've been meaning to join. The only thing is I have
join. You live there.
Yeah.
You're in.
Okay.
It's like here. There's a guy who lives in a building named Connor. His last name. Anyway, he's in Yimby, Denver, but he's really active in urbanist circles.
Wait, that's awesome.
It's hilarious because he came on the Yimby Slack and he introduced himself and said he lives in Baker. And I'm like, hey, we have these meetings. Next thing you know, he's negotiating a CBA for the women's soccer stadium.
That's awesome.
Anyway, it's the best neighborhood in Denver.
It really is. Yeah, it's where I wanted to move when I first moved to Denver, but like we couldn't get a 3-bed, and so we ended up in Congress Park. And now that I don't need one, I was like, okay, well, Baker it is. Yep, and now I do.
All right, everyone, if you could kindly take your seats, we are going to get rolling with the content for tonight. Do you want to do the intro or shall I?
Why don't you go for it?
Okay. All right, so Coleman, can we do a mic check really quick? How are we coming through? Amazingly. Amazingly is good. All right. Won't be boorish. All right, well, welcome everybody to the first GDT meeting of 2026. Yeah, survived 2025, right? That's a kind of an achievement. Barely.
Barely.
Yeah. So for those of you who this is your first time, and it's terrific, we're seeing some new faces. We are a grassroots advocacy group. We are a group of advocates who are passionately supporting a vision for the future where RTD, CDOT, Front Range Passenger Rail, Mountain Rail, Bustang all come together and provide a much stronger transit system. A transit system that meets more of the nation or more of the city, more of the state's needs.
Yeah.
And tonight we've got a bunch of really big kind of decisions ahead of the state, ahead of the legislature, and we're going to talk about the role that we think we can play in supporting some of them. So I think Emma, you might have, or Sagapal.
Yeah, I got some first slides.
All you.
Awesome. So if you've not already heard, RTD has launched Tap and Ride, which is really cool. So go try tap your credit card. Visa or MasterCard cards work right now. So does Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay. So all really exciting new things. And you know, I don't know if any of you have run into this yet, but the RTD fare checking staff has not fully been briefed on this technology rollout. So if you have had any negative experiences with this, also please share that with me and share that with Chris Nicholson and some of the other board members, because this is something they are interested in hearing about so that they can take it to RTD leadership and figure out, hey, if we're going to do any sort of major institutional changes in the future, what kind of safeguards and processes do we need to have in place? But regardless, this is great news. With any big change, there's obviously going to be teething problems. But yeah, Tap and Ride is in motion, and then Amex cards are coming soon, and Discover.
Does it work for all users?
Yes, it works.
How do you give a discount?
So for discounts, you have to link your card to your credit card has to be linked to your MyRide, like the app, and then it will realize, like, if you've set up the fact that you have discounts on the app, it will then pull your discounted fare.
But be sure to check, because some people are saying that they are not able to see it. They're not able to see the discounts. So that may be part of the teething thing. So just kind of check your credit card statement the first month that you've used it, basically.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work, again, write to us, write to one of your RTD directors, because we need to make sure that we're communicating what's working and what's not, so that so that they actually make sure that all these kinks get fixed out. Yep.
I've used it, it's really cool. The cool thing I noticed is that if you pay for a bus ticket 2 times in the same day, it doesn't charge you for 2 3-hour tickets, it charges you the cheaper price for a 1 day.
Yeah, it's fair capping.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
So, that's, I guess, a good point to realize. When you tap your credit card, you will technically only see the statement at the end of the day around like 2 or 3 a.m. And that's because RTD places a hold, but they only take the fare at the end of the RTD billing day. And what it does is, with all these tickets, they are fare capped. So if you tap twice in a day, it'll cap you at the daily pass level. And if you tap a certain amount of times in a month, it'll cap you at the monthly pass level. So really exciting.
Coleman?
Just a little more context I want to add. If you have your card on your phone as well as your physical card, they are not interchangeable. So there are two different cards
They
that the
like
system will
cap
see and will
different.
charge them accordingly. So don't switch them out as you're going around. Either use your phone or use your physical card.
Yeah, appreciate that.
I had a question for this room. Has anybody tested the monthly fare capping using tap to pay to see if it worked? Because that's a lot of taps to test.
Yeah.
Can't say that I have.
That's some mental math
Okay.
you got to do too, right?
Yeah, that might be something for you to test for us and find out.
Yeah, have you done
I
this
have
yet?
an eco pass. I'm not paying.
Oh.
Alright.
What pass are you on in 2026? Oh. So,
Cool.
love it.
I guess other big update, we saw that RTD took the time to experiment with their service planning, and because downtown rail construction finished ahead of schedule, they were able to schedule a holiday train service, and we were able to do a few events that leverage that. And I just think this is an awesome example of RTD going a bit out of their comfort zone in hosting events that are, or like experimenting with their planning, which I think is really cool and is something that we should continue to advocate for and celebrate when RTD does that. Yeah, and I think a big shout out to the union for supporting and really pushing for this as well, because obviously it required some retraining and required staff to also go a bit out of the way to make this happen. So yeah.
All right, give it up for RTD.
Was planning on using the holiday train on New Year's Eve. And how did that go for you?
It was fine because I was going to Decadence at the convention center early.
Yeah.
And then,
I had a
It was too late
transit-oriented bar crawl going on at that time, and we were planning on taking it just for one stop, so there was no hardship. And then I get a notification that it kind of beamed a truck at a grade crossing on Welton. Like, the fares were free as a promotion, and then some idiot, 5 points.
No, actually, speaking of which, I remember, this is a bit of a tangent, but do you know who owns those blackout signs along Welton that are supposed to indicate when a train is coming?
That should be Dottie.
Yeah, because I put in a 311 request for that to let them know that they've been flashing basically continuously for the last month and a half, and they said, "Oh, call RTD." So it's like,
Huh, okay.
yeah, not clear who owns that. But
Yeah, definitely bring to one of us after the meeting and we can figure out the best plan of attack there.
And building off the success of the S line, Director Nicholson is proposing essentially another version of this, combining the L line with the H line, and also potentially extending the H line all the way to Peoria. On top of this, also bringing back the C line instead of the D.
Yeah.
So this is going along the lines of trying to experiment with things, see what works. Like there may be limitations in like extending the H all the way to Peoria, but if we can make the L line more useful to people on a daily basis, I think that's something we should try.
Yeah, and some context on this, I don't know, is Joe here?
No,
I don't think he is. He did some numbers pre-pandemic, and I think it was like a pretty radical drop in ridership when we switched from this being a regional route to a purely local route. So I think bringing this back will see increased ridership. Hard to say how much,
Yeah.
but significant.
Yeah, this is kind of the mindset we want RTD to be in, and like trying new things, seeing what works, what doesn't, learning from that, and maybe we can learn something from this. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can be supportive of.
Yeah, this
Right.
I would say is the thing I'd really push for like RTD board comment. If you want to show up, talk about how you love the holiday train and this is a great idea, because now would be the time that I think that would like hit the hardest while this is being proposed.
Bit long.
Compliment plus ask.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
Awesome.
Yep.
One question, yeah?
Yes, I'm curious why it's only the H line going all the way up to 30th and Downing, and if there's no way to do like 2 lines there.
I think one is.
I know it's single track towards the end. But.
Yeah, well, it's single track and there's like no TSP, and so I think like we're already risking some delays. So I think if we do multiple, like the OTP is just gonna be bad.
Like I know we're
Yeah.
trying to be positive, but this is going to be an operational nightmare. You're taking the worst section of the R, and then Welton, and then stitching them together throughout the whole network.
Okay, no. We are taking a different attitude on that, which is that the central loop worked fine for my whole life. They detached it once it got really congested, once we layered on a whole bunch of lines in the 2010s, or the late 2000s, early 2010s. This is doable. That is our attitude. This is doable, and we're going to find a way.
2 more
Okay.
quick ones.
And also, I'm gonna be our timekeeper.
Yes, we gotta
and
keep-
Yes.
We have to, I'm keeping us on schedule, we can't have any.
Okay, so one question.
Before the question, though, one quick thing. I want to be inclusive. I want to be inclusive to everyone who doesn't understand the acronyms used.
Yeah.
So there are like a few things here, right? So the L line corridor does not have TSP, which is transit signal priority, which basically allows for a train to turn the lights green when it's there. The other issue we have is the track on the L line is there's, instead of a typical 1 track in each direction, there are parts of it which only has 1 track. So when you have trains trying to like use that section, they can't like overtake one another. So that's the limitations in capacity.
The other context here I'll say is TSP is much cheaper to implement than double tracking. So while double tracking is something we also want, TSP is like plausible in the near term. Like we could afford it.
Okay, one question.
I didn't have a question as much as a comment in that I think the longer H line brings up the point of how you have so many different points of failure with different areas of at-grade crossings that don't have TSP, especially around the Aurora Metro Center station, that could make that line operational.
This may be an ambitious idea that gets scaled back, but we still want them to be trying new things.
And the other point is it's only 1 line, right? And the R is every 30 minutes right now. So we're talking about a double track line on the I-225 corridor. This is so doable, right? And I feel like from an advocacy standpoint, we got to come from an attitude of let's find a way. Right. Not this woe is us, it's let's find a way, is I think what we got to do.
And it's also definitely the fact we used to have like 4 like rail lines going through the downtown loop with no problem for like a decade.
Yeah.
So saying we can't run 2 now is, I just don't believe it.
We're moving on.
We're not going to the moon. We are not going to the moon.
All right. So we have a new addition to the RTD board. On January 7th, we got a new District N director, Cindy
Arcuri is how I believe her last name is pronounced. Anyone can correct me if I've got that wrong.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, if
She
anyone.
told me Arcuri.
Arcuri. Okay.
Noted.
Perfect.
Cool. Director Peggy Catlin has officially resigned due to health reasons. We're wishing her the best. So definitely reach out to her, especially if she was your board director, for all the work that she has done on the board.
Where is District 9?
Far southwest.
Yeah.
Far southwest.
Evergreen.
So it's actually one of the more difficult districts from an advocacy standpoint because a lot of the folks live in an area that's got very little coverage, and a lot of them have to drive to another district to get on a service. So a lot of the folks who live in like Ken Carroll and some of these areas will use the CD line. They'll drive to Englewood, and that will be their RTD experience,
And
far more so than like the local bus.
Notably also includes Red Rocks.
Yep. Which
You're
we're
right.
about to get transit service for, from what I've heard.
Not to events, but to for
Transit service, not trains, like bus. Yeah, we're not getting a train to Red Rocks yet. We can train.
Got to talk to Director Harwick about his gondola idea for that.
But yeah, we got to wrap it up. Speaking of this district, I think their big question is the southwest extension. I think would go into this district, and that's kind of an open question, if I'm not mistaken.
I think the biggest thing for them is that they've been disconnected from Union Station, so they've had a miserable time transferring to the A line if they want to go to the airport. So bringing back the C line, I think, is going to be really popular with her district, but also eventually making a priority to say, no, we want the C and the D line operating again, like what we had before the pandemic.
Yep.
So.
All right, let's get going. Okay, Keith, I think this one's yours.
So, District H stays winning. Your boy Patrick is now chair of the board. We are all very looking forward to his tenure. Ian, shout out to Arvado. Maybe we'll get to the bottom of the G line with him there. And one more. Yeah, we got both the Chris's again. And Karen is treasurer. So shout out Longmont if you want to go ride the 321.
We have at least one person in this room who does ride the 321.
Yeah.
321 is not a bus.
It doesn't exist.
Wait, it's
Or the
320. Where does it start?
326, 327.
So it starts at 322?
It's
323.
Yeah, this information.
Okay. June is fine.
I just remember they were the 300 series. That's
Keep on trucking.
James, this is yours.
All right, so for those of you who are new to GDT, there is something called the RTD Accountability Committee that is ongoing right now. It was set up by legislation, commissioned by the General Assembly. I am honored to have been one of the appointees from Governor Polis to serve on this committee. Thank you. So basically what has happened is we've gone through, for the last couple of months, a series of deep dives into governance-related topics, and we've made our recommendations, we've voted. It was not without contention. There were certainly pieces of this where there were differences of opinion, and what ended up really kind of being voted on were a series of compromises that will be built upon when the legislature is going to ultimately review the recommendations of the Accountability Committee, and they're probably going to make further changes on what I'm about to present to you. So what I'm going to share with you is the compromise points that proceeded with having the most amount of votes. So the first is a board structure. The board reform piece of this was something that was very important to a lot of the committee members. I took a different view on this, but what prevailed, what ultimately ended up proceeding was a consensus that we were going to recommend a shrinking of the board, somewhere between 7 and 9 seats. We ended up going with 9. And of those 9 seats, 5 would remain elected districts. Overwhelmingly, the votes were that the majority of the seats must be elected districts. That is how the committee voted. The biggest disagreements was the amount of appointed seats, the minority of seats. What ended up proceeding was a 60-40 with a lot of with a lot of kind of points and nuances of what the appointments could look like. So in the report, you're going to probably see also a few minority reports for people who disagreed with this. They will call out the reasons for why. The biggest critics of the governor-appointed seats was in the case where we were to have a governor who wasn't super pro-transit, right? Maybe whether it's a Republican governor or just even kind of like a limousine liberal governor who wasn't really interested in transit.
That's a great term.
So, and that's going to be one of the questions that I think the legislature is going to contend with too. Is that in practice, how can we do that, and how can we make sure that the guardrails around those are going to actually include the kinds of candidates that were intended? The point, I think, a lot of the people who stood behind appointed seats were those who wanted to explicitly carve out seats for expertise rather than representation. They believed that the electeds were supposed to be kind of the representative side. The appointed seats could be technocrats, basically, people who have very specific experience. The challenge is that it's impossible to make this perfect, right? So there's going to be continued discussion on this. If you'd like to over drinks discuss this, would love to, but to keep things going, I got to keep going. So I got buy-in. This was my big baby. I wanted 2 ex officio seats permanently on the committees. I believe that given the amount of misinformation we had in the Finance Committee over the last year, which has been a massive embarrassment in my opinion, we need someone to represent CDOT, CTIO, CTE on the RTD board. If RTD is going to be asking the state for money, we should damn well have someone on that committee who knows the process. So locking that in without a conflict, these are ex officio non-voting people, but they can represent the state and the state's process. The second, and I think Lance Longenbahn, who is the leader of the ATU 1001 union, was really adamant that the union wanted a more exalted position where they could communicate with the board about kind of the union and the operators, the mechanics' perspectives. So at a bare minimum, and this is the floor, not the ceiling of union representation, making sure that they could talk and have a permanent seat on the operations committee. So when the board is considering operational impacts, we could at least hear from the union about what their perspective was in a non-voting capacity. However, it is possible that the union or labor may get a voting seat as well. So those were kind of the core recommendations for that. Another just conflict of interest thing. I come from a family of lawyers. Getting the general counsel to report to the board, not the GM and CEO. That way in the future, if the GM CEO ever does something illegal, there is zero question about the process to examine that.
Yeah.
So just cleaning up a conflict of interest, best practice for other transit agencies. There was, in the paratransit suite, around the huge fight that we had about access on demand over the summer and in the fall. The committee came out very forthrightly saying we need a comprehensive needs assessment for riders with disabilities to acknowledge the differences in need and actually build a product based on responding to those needs. So that is going to be a core part of the recommendations. And then finally, and this is the big one for me, is we need to study RTD's rail assets. We've got this massive debt issue already with what has been built. We've got billions of dollars of unfunded repair work that needs to be looked at. We got to look at the ownership and the oversight of RTD's rail assets. So that's going to be probably a mega multi-year thing. But what's critical is that this isn't just kind of the legislature going off and making, political sausage making. We had a process that had transit experts, national experts weigh in on these recommendations, and we had really robust discussions. One person that, if this group has not met, our chair of the committee, Maria Garcia Berry, was actually someone who was responsible for the original Fast Track campaign in 2004 and did an enormous amount of the legwork for that. So I'm hoping to get Maria to come to a meeting in the spring. So more to come on this. This has still got to go through the legislature. There's tons of further debate to be had on this. So if you guys are passionate about some of these pieces, definitely the friendly legislators, Meg Froelich, as well as Senator Ball, are going to be in positions of leadership on the RTD reform bill. Highly recommend reach out to them. So, got to keep it moving, of course. Ridership will just fly through this. We actually had a really good month where in October we saw finally in heavy rail double-digit year-over-year increases, overwhelmingly driven by the A-line, which is great. For those of you who have not been attending GDT meetings regularly, we've been having really, really bad ridership growth stories on a year-over-year basis. Part of it was the light rail issues last year, so we're beginning to go over a more healthy base. Hopefully this is the beginning of more to come with stable recovery. Operator shortage, again, it's still skewed by RT changing their methodology, but I think the critical thing to look at is look at light rail. Finally, finally, we are seeing progress in staffing up to operate our light rail system reliably. So,
you wouldn't know
should we get a hand, RTD? Progress is progress.
Wasn't a Debbie Downer and say you wouldn't know it if you rode the holiday train the last week or so, but otherwise it's been good.
I have one question.
Oh, one question. Yeah.
I was just going to ask, is the shortage due to, was RTD under the governor's hiring freeze, or are they just not paying?
No, I think it's mostly been a retention issue more than it's been.
For every 5 people they hired, they lost 4.
Among the light rail department.
Tenure on the light rail was under a year.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, I think your analogy was like a boat with just a hole in the middle of it, like water coming through.
Yeah, no, you had a bucket that wasn't a bucket, it was a tube.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're making progress on that, because this is the thing that I think was really killing ridership, is that just for years the light rail was unreliable on top of all the maintenance issues. So if we can at least make the light rail a pillar of reliability again, right, all that does is that makes the bus transfers that much more viable for people.
Yeah,
So.
if you have any insight as to, why operators don't stick around, talk to us, let us know.
And if you are an operator here,
Yes.
talk to us.
Yep.
Because we are
How is it?
super interested in your experience. So really quick, for those of you who are new, ignore this. This is entirely for GDT members who are regulars. If you enjoyed pizza tonight, if you would kindly scan and Venmo me. We are a grassroots group. We have no budget aside from what comes out of our own wallets. And this is how we are able to keep the pizza coming. So if you enjoyed pizza, would appreciate this. Just give it another minute.
You have to put your face in the middle.
Yeah.
Try taking a picture with your phone, and then you can hit the little image icon. And it's the link.
That's probably going to do.
The glare is always tricky. It's also back behind you guys too, if that's easier for you. So
Might be a little better.
thank you, Coleman. Okay. Oh, one more. Thank you. Awesome. All right, so I will turn this over to June.
Thank you. I also do see some new faces in the room tonight, so if you don't know who I am, my name is June Churchill. I'm one of the leads of GDT. I'm also a full-time legislative aide at the state capitol. That means I will not be able to lobby, testify, or do anything to really influence the passage of these bills, or else I would get fired, but I can tell you about them. So let's talk about some bills. So, I've heard of 4 transit-related bills, big ones that are coming to the legislature this session. A bit less than last session, but still, these are important ones. First is the HOME Act. This was introduced. It is the first bill, which means it is the top priority of leadership. So the HOME Act is sort of a follow-on from last year's land use bills. What it would do is essentially for affordable housing developers, for transit agencies, for schools, for colleges, if they own a plot of land that is nearby transit, they're required to, for a local city, cannot stop them from building up to 3 stories on that plot of land. And in addition, if there's a zoning district over that, which allows for higher buildings, the city cannot stop the school, transit authority, affordable housing developer from building an affordable housing project on that land. Yes?
Is this limited just to train stations or also bus stations?
I'd have to double check, but the bill text is out, so come find me afterwards.
Gotcha.
How does the school apply to this? You're saying like if a school has land,
Yeah,
they can build on it?
I'll use South High School as an example. South
Okay.
High School is a big old parking lot. South High School wants to, under this bill, they could just build a 3-story apartment building for their teachers there. They don't have to necessarily ask city for permission. Good question.
So I was reading the bill yesterday, and I don't know if I misread it, but I believe there was a limit on the size of the plots. Like
5 acres.
5 acres.
5 acres.
Yeah.
Just tiny.
Yeah.
It's like that big.
So, but what I'm asking is that like just per building or per development?
Per plot. Technically, they could subdivide the plot into separate 5 acres, I believe. So, but yeah, if you want to read that bill, it's out there. That's the bill number. Look it up. Tax increment financing near transit. This has not been introduced yet, but this bill will introduce, first of all, a $50 million tax credit for new housing near transit, and also will allow tax increment financing near transit. If you don't know what that means, it essentially means that you've got an empty plot of land, you're going to be building housing on it, and that means you're going to be getting tax revenue. And as the tax revenue increases, you can basically borrow against the future tax revenue to build improvements on that land. So, yeah.
Does that apply to sales tax revenue?
Property taxes.
Property taxes.
And also, that exact financing mechanism built to the building
I was
we are
just
in
gonna
right
point
now.
out, yeah, all
This
of this.
entire area was built by TIF funding, so that's the power of that tool. Next up, Colorado Rail Authority and also RTD accountability. You already heard about RTD accountability. I know nothing about this Colorado Rail Authority thing, but James does.
So I didn't know we were going to talk about this tonight, but
you don't have to say much.
Well, so basically, there is a consensus among quite a few people that without the leadership of a governor's office that is passionate about rail, we do not have the institutional strength to carry on with a lot of the rail initiatives. We don't have the expertise, we don't have the budget, and we also don't necessarily also have the direction, the legal direction, to advance rail programmatically, not on a project-by-project basis. So what we're going to try to do, work with some of the best legal minds we have, as well as those who are very politically savvy. What is a step 1 of this that is not going to have a fiscal note? That is our challenge.
Yep, that's the bill. And that's our legislative update. If you've got questions about the legislature, or how to influence bills, or the process, come talk to me afterwards. I'm done. We are running behind.
Who cares?
Thank you.
I care.
All right, so unfortunately, Joe is not here with us. Joe has been periodically called away for work and has had to travel to Minnesota. But District C is this district. You okay?
I was just thinking of Minnesota.
Oh, Joe's safe. Joe's safe.
It's not like
Joe is safe.
Yeah.
Joe is safe.
Civil war is starting up there.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Joe is someone who is a lead of GDT who we have endorsed. His campaign is going to be really important given that his district is going to cover a lot of the areas impacted by our proposed downtown bus plan, which for those of you who are new to GDT, it's one of our biggest projects, as well as the intersection of basically all of our commuter rail lines, all the stuff with Front Range passenger rail. His district is so vital. So if you live in this part of the city,
which is probably a lot of you.
Yeah, which is probably like half of you.
Yeah.
I just continue to encourage donation to Joe.
Does he have an opponent?
Yes.
Yes.
Who?
It doesn't matter. It's some kid who is either fresh out of college or still in it, who is a right-wing agenda Twitter is all we figured out.
Really?
Yeah.
Right wing?
Yeah.
Okay.
More to come.
More to come on that. So I'd like to give the floor to Coleman from District J. Come on up, sir.
I didn't know I'd be speaking. My name's Coleman Erickson. I'm running for the RTD Board of Directors alongside my dear friends Joe, Jack, and I don't see Michael, but he's here in spirit. We're all running as a pretty conjoined platform, and we all believe in the same things. We all know that RTD is broken. We know our transit's not delivering the way it should be, and we're eager to fix that. We know that now is the second best time to fix RTD versus, at least 10 years ago when we've seen this consistent decline, and who knows how long before that we've had these institutional issues. So my campaign is focused on bringing really smart, advocate-led governance to the North Metro and having someone that really cares and rides transit on a daily basis. So I'm not sure if anyone here is a North Glen or Westminster resident, but that is most of my district.
We have a
Westminster. Unfortunately, not the part of Westminster that includes the only train station in Westminster, but we will change that.
Stavros, you're Westminster, right? Yeah, we got one.
Is this a Q&A opportunity, or I don't want to take up too much floor time?
We'll give you one question.
We had no Joe, so Joe has yielded his time to you, sir.
Okay.
Would anyone like to ask a question?
What is the best question? The best?
I think I have a good question.
Okay, I'll believe you.
What is your feelings around the sort of the leadership at the council level as they think about their feelings in transit-oriented development?
Can I ask a clarifying question? Which council?
Well, I'm thinking Westminster in particular.
Okay.
I will say we have made a lot of really great progress in the Westminster, North Glen, and Thornton communities as far as who is on the councils and what they believe in. But we're not 100% there. Of course, Thornton and Westminster, they're still suing the state over the TOD laws that have been enacted upon them. And while there are people that are sympathetic to our cause, it is really hard in a state full of home rule municipalities to tell these cities what they can and can't do. There are people, and I fully believe that we will get these places passed and get the right TOD that our communities need and have been asking for, but it is still going to be not a downhill battle. My feelings towards the people that are on the board is that there will be pushback, but we do still have some allies, and it's not a lost game.
I got a question. What are you doing February 5th, say, around the offices of Pipe Fitters Local 208?
I have no idea, but if I had to guess, Michael and I are going to be speaking at the Adams County Dems Forum for candidates at the county and state level. Come meet both of us, come meet other people. Gabriel Cervantes will be there, as well as other candidates for the Adams County Board of Commissioners.
Cool. Awesome.
All right.
How can people help your campaign and get involved if they want
By
to?
giving him money.
ColemanFairTV.com. There's a big blue donate button, but sharing my content on social media with friends.
We got tons of cards up here. Take them, scan them.
Grab a sticker. Come meet me. I'll be at drinks, and I'd love to answer any questions.
Yes, donate to Coleman.
Whoop, whoop.
Someone just unyielded their time.
We made it.
Oh.
Rewind it. Rewind it back.
All right, we're rewinding. We're rewinding.
Okay, Joe, you're gonna have to be quick, but
We were terribly. There was grave concern as to your safety, and we clarified that you are alive and well, sir. We are happy to see you.
we name dropped Minnesota, and people were. Yeah.
I flew at 5 a.m. and just got delayed.
Okay, 60 seconds.
What am I? Am I pitching?
Yeah.
Pitch yourself.
Yeah, who are you?
How can we help you?
I've never seen you.
Pretend like you're on a dating app. Pitch yourself.
The biggest. Well, I'll start with the pitch, and then we'll go to help and hold me to the time.
Okay.
The pitch is the experience of the people riding the system has to be the #1 priority. And until the board is made up of people that look at every decision that way, we are never going to have a usable system that works and provides a seamless experience for the people who use it and the people who want to use transit. So let's go fix that. The biggest ways to help. These districts are huge. It's 220,000 people per district. There is absolutely no way that each of us can reach every single voter and interested person in the district. So tell your friends who, they don't have to be transit nerds. They can just be people who want to not sit in traffic, or want a more affordable Colorado, or want to go on a vacation to Europe and come back and go, wow, it's just as good here. Tell them about all of us running. If you have connections with local elected officials, community leaders, business improvement districts, I would love to be introduced to those people and pitch to them how good transit is good for our community and get them on board with our platform.
Quick pitch for your district's lines, like north,
Yes.
south, east, west.
joeforrtd.com/map. But northern boundary of District C that I'm running for is the northern boundary of Denver, which is about 52nd Avenue, but it's got some funky bits. Colorado Boulevard is the eastern boundary. Sheridan is the western boundary. On the west side, Mississippi is the southern boundary, and then it kind of follows the Platte. Does a little whoop-de-doo through downtown, thanks to some gerrymandering that gives some of that space to Chris Nicholson. And then along
Chris Nicholson gerrymandering, that's crazy.
Well, he didn't do it. It just they could have put Civic Center and Union Station in the same district, so it'd be cheap.
All right.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Thank you, Joe. And now a message from candidate Farrington.
Hi GDT, this is Michael Farrington, your candidate for District K for RTD. Hey, I want to thank you so much. We just finished out an amazing quarter where we raised more than $10,000 from more than 90 donors, including many of you. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, I can't join you tonight at tonight's GDT meeting because I'm currently speaking to the Adams County Democratic Party about the rules to allow Coleman and I and Ian Harwick to be endorsed by the party itself. This is a recent change that I was part of that I'm really excited about the possibility of the Democratic Party playing a bigger role in supporting transit offices. Unfortunately, that means I can't join you tonight. I do want to thank you for your support of my campaign. I want to thank you for your support of Joe's, Jack's, and Coleman's campaigns, and I want to encourage you to keep doing that. We have a number of bills coming up in the state legislature that will mean a lot for transit. Not just the transit reform bill that you're all familiar with, but bills that will allow us to create tax increment financing, or TIFs, that will improve transit, a bunch of accountability bills, and bills that will allow easier financing. Please be involved in GDT. Be involved with YIMBY. Be involved with these urbanist organizations that are focused on making our cities better and are progressive aligned. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me on Slack. My cell phone number is 303-868-5107. You are always welcome to text me. And thank you so much. Keep supporting progressives in every office. Keep supporting urbanists. And I look forward to seeing you at your next monthly meeting.
Whew.
Dang.
And last but not least, Mr. Jack Rosenthal.
I wanted to see Michael still talking up there.
Yeah, you can either pitch yourself or the dash, your choice.
I'll do both, why not? Yes, my name is Jack Rosenthal. I am your candidate for the RTD board in Boulder County, and your next director for RTD District O. I got into this because I ride transit everywhere, every single day, and I remember when RTD used to work a little bit better than they do today, and I know that there's a lot that we can do to improve upon what we got. I think a lot of people in this room have met me before, so I'm going to get into where my campaign's at and whatnot. We hosted a kickoff party last December. I know a lot of you were there. We initially had 110 RSVPs, which was crazy. I never thought that many people would, care about an RTD race. But had to reschedule a day because of some ferocious extreme winds on December 19th. And that was the right move. Everyone was able to make it there safely. With that, we still had about like 80 people show up. It was awesome. I had record financing my first quarter. My first quarter, I raised $21,000, which is the most in RTD Canada has ever raised. And I now wrapped up my second quarter, in which I raised over $30K. I now have the most cash in the bank that an RTD candidate has ever had before, but I've got a serious opponent as well. An opponent which has historically opposed Northwest Rail, and an opponent who is endorsed by people who really are not for change and not for turning RTD around. And so this is where I ask for your support. 51K is a lot, but it's not enough. I told you I'm an actual transit rider, and I boarded RTD 677 times in the year 2025. I counted based on the taps on my MyRide card. If you would like to donate 1 cent for every time I boarded, that would be $6.77.
Very fair.
And the QR code to do so is right here. And I will pass this around, a couple of them around as well.
All right, thanks, Jack. All right, so I will hand this off to Sagapal.
Big agenda. Big agenda. Awesome. So it's 2026. I don't know if I'm the only one who still writes 25 at the end of dates, but
no.
I'll be doing that till 28.
Yeah. But yeah, GDT is has a lot going forward, and it's super exciting. We heard about some of the bills. We heard from some of the candidates. 2026 is going to be a big year, and we want to make sure that we are proactive about how we as a community can create the biggest impact, both in the policy space but also just in the community space. How do we create the best space for people to come get together and talk about transit? So without further ado, I think the way to think about GDT is twofold. We have our policy goals, what we want to accomplish working with RTD, working with state legislature, and then we have our advocacy goals. How do we get policies passed, people in seats or people voted for, and how do we create community? So in terms of policy, I think the biggest thing on our radar right now is there's a very high chance that the Front Range Passenger Rail District could go to ballot in this year, like in November. If that happens, we have to go out in full force and ensure that that gets voted on and voted for. Obviously, when we are going through an affordability crisis right now, no one likes to pay more taxes, but if that does happen, that will be the most transformative thing for transit in Colorado. So that's obviously where we are trying to keep our finger on the pulse. Our next big thing here is the Metro Denver bus ban. You kind of heard this from me a few times now. I've talked about it at a few of our meetings, but we're really making a lot of real progress here. Actually, earlier today, James, Cody, and myself spoke with RTD's planning team as well as RTD's chief operating officer to actually get some of our ideas implemented through more experiments in the downtown area. And all that to say, there's a lot of ambition and hope for us to make RTD's bus network look a lot better. And RTD as a whole is also going through this process called the Comprehensive Operational Analysis, which is the largest of its kind. RTD is going to look at every bus route in its system and determine what is the best way to reroute buses, what frequencies to have those buses on. And we are going to show up at every stakeholder meeting, and we're going to make sure that our ideas are pushed forward. And we're going to work with the board candidates and people on the board to ensure that we get a map that works for Denver and works for the Metro. Last big policy goal of ours is getting our vision for what we want rail to look like in this state in a position where we can start socializing it with the media. So we've talked about specific lines, like we have a vision for the L line, we have a vision for double tracking the A line, but as a whole, what do we want rail to look like in this state? That's something we're trying to iron out and start talking to people. You know, we're hopeful to start talking to more people in the media, get on some podcasts. We've already been on a few podcasts, so you're going to start hearing from GDT a lot more in places you wouldn't typically hear GDT. On the other side of things, in advocacy, we're going to support candidates in bills. I think today was a great example of how we're going to give candidates who are running for RTD board positions a platform to talk about what they need and how we can show up and support them. In the same vein, we're going to support bills that are truly transformative for transportation in our state, like the Home Act, like TIF, tax increment financing. These are all going to be very important, and we're going to do our best to show up more so than we have been. Beyond that, we are, as knowledge about RTD has been, as knowledge about GDT has been growing, we are broadening our endorsement process. So we've actually had folks reach out to us and reaching out for GDT's endorsement about district attorney races, House seats, Senate seats, city council seats. So we are really thoughtfully trying to expand the way we endorse candidates and show that, you know, if you care about transit in this state, GDT is going to back you. Last thing is obviously grow our community. GDT, I think, is the best transportation organization advocacy group in the state and maybe in the US, but I don't want to go that far.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
There's a lot more we can do to be better. You know, continue to host events, continue to create spaces for the community to talk and engage. And yeah, if any of these things sound interesting to you, come talk to one of the leads and keep an eye out, because one of the exciting updates I can share with you is we're going to have a new newsletter.
Yeah, we will put you to work if you want to help. I can promise you that. We have plenty to do.
And last plug I will put on this front is we have a very exciting update, but to be kind to our friends at YIMBY, I'm not going to share it until the 20th of January when the YIMBY legislative kickoff is, but there's a very, very fun update that GDT, YIMBY, DBL are working on, and it's going to be pretty big. I'll pause there. Maybe, sorry. Yeah, Mike, you had a question?
I just want to say with front range passenger rail with the ballot measure, the final go-no-go decision on that, I believe, is in May, and there's a preliminary one in, I think, April, so that's when we'll be getting the news on. It's looking like they will, but fully whether they're going to commit to going to the ballot this year.
Yeah.
From an advocacy standpoint, given that that is when the train show is and a whole bunch of other events, we are going to basically put in the work as though they are going to the ballot.
Yeah.
That's our plan.
Yeah. It's also going to be a big year for ballot measures. I'm anticipating, I'm hearing rumbles about Tabor
Oh,
at
yes.
the state capitol. So big year on the ballot.
So yeah, get your friends out to vote this November.
Speaking of ballot initiative, I'm Brad. This is my first meeting with this county.
Welcome, Brad.
Colorado wins. I work for the state. So my union covers CDOT. My political director of our union told us about this 2 days ago. There is a ballot initiative that the details have been approved for signature gathering now. It's called number 175 State Revenue Supporting Road Transportation.
Oh.
And it would restrict all funding of CDOT exclusively to highways.
Yeah, we've seen this.
We have seen this.
Yeah.
They have until the end of May to get their signatures. They need a time because it's a state ballot initiative, but it's something you guys might want to keep an eye on.
If you run into them, you know, talk to them. I'm not saying waste their time. I'm not saying, you know, just keep conversing with them for hours or anything. But, you know.
This is basically the Contractors Association is frustrated with CDOT. And this is basically grift.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
Think to freeze highway industrial complex.
Yep. It's real.
One more lane, bro.
Okay. Any other questions about what GDT has cooking, or any thoughts before we move into our activity?
Just a quick one. What are we going to be doing down the road to the gubernatorial level with the
candidates and so forth.
Yeah.
Whose nose are we going to be browning?
So to be, again, we have some major announcements coming on that. But in the near term, I think basically the intention is that right now, given what we were just talking about, this activity from the Contractors Association, it's been very difficult to get any gubernatorial candidate to speak with any detail about transportation. They're trying to not paint a target on their back. That said, eventually they're going to have to say something, right? So as a team, as YIMBY, GDT, Denver Bicycle Lobby, right, how can we talk to them in ways where they will feel comfortable telling us what they think, right? In a way that doesn't politically compromise them, but something to where we can hopefully figure out who we're going to prefer. Speaking just for myself, I haven't taken a position on any governor candidate that I prefer because none of them have said anything very specific about transportation yet. I think that's probably a lot of people. We got to figure out a way to decide, and part of that is they need to say something about transportation.
Yeah. Are we allowed to talk about our next meeting? I think that's a fun announcement.
Well,
Jamie, next meeting?
We know for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have the honor of hosting Michael Bennett's wife, Susan Daggett. Susan Daggett is going to be our guest speaker. Susan is a lifelong housing advocate. And no, that's February.
We're glad that you came tonight.
We're so happy you came tonight. But part of what we're about to do.
There's Susan Daggett there for you.
But part of what we're going to do tonight is we're going to figure out what we're going to ask her about and what we're going to talk about because
it's still relevant.
Totally relevant. Because I think fundamentally there are some big political wins that have not been fully taken. There's a perception that Governor Polis is the train guy, right? Governor Polis had, the Northwest Rail, Front Range Passenger Rail, Mountain Rail. The reality is that most of those services are not going to get turned on and start running under his administration. So it's a part of us, right, when we talk to them about these political wins for them. Busting. We've been hearing serious rumblings that busting is going to have a funding issue very soon, right? And if we're going to be seriously considering like a 30% plus cut or something like that, we got to talk really seriously about how can the state giddy up and practically reach out, grab dollars creatively, however we got to do it to make sure that transit remains on a growth trajectory, right? And we're going to have a huge opportunity to talk to someone who has been a huge ally for housing, and we get to talk about the transportation side of the housing transportation coin.
And this will lead into our activity.
Our activity, yes.
Yeah. But keep an eye out. January 20th, there's going to be a big announcement on our Slack, and YIMBY Slack, and our newsletter, which Gable and Cody are working on. So if you have any ideas for the newsletter, big plug, just come chat with us. We want to start engaging more people. Without further ado.
Is it?
No.
You want to introduce it?
Yeah. Tonight, we want to essentially kind of crowdsource, because we're getting so many requests for endorsements, essentially a candidate questionnaire.
Yep.
We might have questions we want to, but ask anyone. I put some essentially prompts up here, but this is not to necessarily guide your thinking.
And our idea? Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm kind of imagining is, think if you had a few minutes with a gubernatorial candidate, city council member, someone running for some office. What would be the one question you want to ask them? I'm going to let you kind of sit with this for a couple minutes. I'm going to pass around some note cards, and then you'll just kind of break off into your kind of areas and just kind of talk with other people about what questions you kind of come up with. And you can write them down on these note cards. And then we can kind of put this together into what will be GDT's official questionnaire that we send out, just to kind of filter. There's some good, really great candidates out there. Some will just give you empty platitudes.
Yep.
But sort of think deeper of how we can get to more honest answers about what transit actually means to that candidate.
Yeah, and I think the framing on this, right, is it's a generic questionnaire for any elected position potentially, and this is sort of a first pass filter, right? So it's obviously this is not the full due diligence. This is sort of this is the first thing you do before we even really take a consideration at all.
Michael Doherty's relationship to transit is going to be a little bit different than a state senator or something like that.
Yep.
So.
and we are really lucky that we have a few people who are running for different levels of government here with us. If you want to raise your hand, if you're thinking about running or are running in a race, so definitely chat with these folks about how they're thinking about running for races, and they might have some cool ideas.
I have a question.
Yep.
When we were talking amongst ourselves and writing down ideas, would it be helpful to say, oh, this would be for a statewide?
You can, if you want to specify. Like if you had a very specific question, I think generally we're trying to like filter out as like we go along. But specific questions would be also useful, maybe in a follow-up or something for people that we're kind of keeping an eye on. So just sit for a few minutes, like think about a question you might want to ask to write down, and then I'm just going to pass around some note cards and pens.
Yeah, and while you're sitting and thinking, I'm just going to do a sound off for the 4 groups so that people don't have to like figure out what group they want to be in, because we're all working on the same thing. We're just dividing and conquering here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, going in the back. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm gonna loop back around with you, Eugene. 1, me too, you're 2, 3, and then loop back 4. 1, 2, 3, and then Bruce, I'm going to you 4. Coleman, you're 1, and then you're 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 4? 1? Okay.
Cool. Okay, so the way that we're going to do it, 1s are going to go around this table here, 2s in that corner, 3s in that corner, 4s in this corner.
Gene, help passing out the cards.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Just kind of give them a couple just so that they have more space.
Hello, you're number 1.
You stole all the pens.
The idea is we're going to cluster them in the groups.
Very small.
Well, you know how that's what it seems to be a practice.
Like I have footage of him running away.
It's not just, you don't have a car because you don't have one. One of the 21 markers didn't go out.
Here's a no.
Yeah,
They got red.
How would you advocate for transit as a solution? How do you see transit as a solution?
So we want to have a share out, so let's say 45? 40? Yeah, 40. We ended it early.
Unless you're talking about bus riding.
Well, I mean, ideally, if it's like tomorrow, We don't dare to come to the
What is the specific thing going
How can transit be a part of the solution? Do you feel that
That's a very
What's the biggest benefit you have to provide now? What's the biggest thing to provide? All they say is reduce transit, reduce traffic, and nothing about why the transit itself.
You can also kind of blame it in an environmental way. How would you
Transit sucks right now. Why they and because there's they start going off on some tangent about unhoused buses are stinking. Yeah, so like, you gotta let it fail. Give it a
I think that's there would be some
What we're asking, what percentage of the population do you think would not support? Because the real answer is like, but if they say 10%, that's like a little out of touch.
I do think we should ask about how that's our number one conclusion. And what do you think the part of it is? Like, how would you improve choices to transit access?
Road widening is yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But the if you mentioned what is the line? How much do they know?
Yeah, this is a quick.
That's a little bit unfair.
Oh, it's very good.
It is unfair but they persist just no. It is, but here in far southwest Colorado. Or southwest Colorado. Part of what GDT does is educate, not just gotcha. I don't want to.
This application isn't to educate. The point of this application is to see if they're willing to find the education.
They don't know why they're asking for endorsement.
So if they're a great candidate, but they can't answer that question, then we then find out if it's a good candidate. What was part of tendency in
But you're asking what's the turning circle on avoidance of bus. This is like, you know, this is basically why you know what hard tendency is. You know what transit
they're seeking endorsement, maybe they should understand.
And if they got a study, it's an open note test.
So Orient's 110. So that means I probably want to get there.
So GDT is not not endorsing.
I tried I'm not taking a road trip out to Wells County to talk to someone whose primary concern is the overall outlook on corn prices, to convince them to take my train.
Why? Because certainly
and they want to understand is I will make money better. You come to us. Yes, what is
Oh man, so that would have been if there were no
What's your screen time at the end of the day? Do you know
I don't know if this is guiding, but you do to
So it was like I went for like it was like 5 minutes. I got
well, it's a good idea because I was
very basic. Sales tax, You guys got 5 minutes. Yeah. Just hit the highlights.
Okay, 5 minutes.
I don't know. Good job. Pulling out the I was like, growing up last week. I was like, okay, we're going to follow like I show people real translation. I should have more. It's like
do you want to write like how the So we met with Patrick in the Patrick, he also gave us the major points. How would we go? How would we I think I was West. I think what we did was that Jeff has basically taken the attitude. nothing else related to
about
and because you know what they want, so that's not right.
Basically, the question is, you know, transit sucks. Yeah, why you personally think you should stop that? Yeah, because it's like.
Are we saying it's not?
What are the main challenges you're facing? Because there's a lot. If they said money, they said drugs, they said there's plenty of wrong answers to it also. I'll pull wrong answer. Yeah, we want to. Are they going to say, well, my cousin was in Denver 4 years ago. He said I saw somebody on bucks. So I think that's you know,
operating at the COO levels, and then also we're having the senior planning now, and operating on the route by route level. So we would try to drive that conversation about that policy.
All right, 1 minute, everybody. 1 minute.
It's first that's on you.
Oh, but they could also say, well, I really like your economics. I guess. It's valid, but it's not valid. If like your biggest success is that way, you look at it and
Okay, so just by random, I say let's have group 2 go first.
Yeah, and so
Not yet.
I think one of the people to come present your ideas. I don't know if that's
Just enunciate as much as you can. We've got an Omni mic. We're gonna try to. Actually, yeah. If you would come as close to this center stage, if we're gonna put you on the spot.
Welcome to the hot seat.
Hello, I'm Cameron. I wrote down notes for group 2. So we talked about you want to be able to get from the questions, have the questions written in a way that they can give measurable, actionable, forces them to give you measurable, actionable answers. Maybe try to get policy prescriptions out of them in a way that they can't just give like platitudes or empty answers. So asking things like, what are your top 3 policies you would want to support that would bring measurable change? Asking them things like, what is your biggest problem with transit in your area now, and how would you fund fixes to it, or stuff like that. And then we wanted to, make sure that it's like you want questions that you're deciding between the last 3 or 5 people, that there's an easy way to kind of rank or select the best answers. You want to be able to easily get rid of people that don't know what they're talking about, so asking questions that show they have personal experience with transit or with policies related to transit. If they have prior experience that would be useful in the seat that they're running for. Some of the more specific things that we put down were like if it's applicable to the seat, asking about buy-ups and what they think about that. And we talked about the number 1 problem question. Asking about zoning, how would you increase the number of people living and working near transit? Asking about some of the a little more weedy things like Front Range Rail, I-70 corridor, train bridge, seeing what they think about those. Another question, what are your ideas to increase multimodal transit, reduce car dependency? Yeah, I think that covers pretty much all that we said. Is there one more? Which transit project do you think is underrepresented and you would like to focus on more?
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, how about group 4 next?
All right, so we wrote down just a list of a bunch of questions. So I'll read off a few of the ones that I thought were notable. The first one is scenario questions. So for instance, asking them, what do you think about the I-270 widening? What do you think about the Pena Boulevard widening? What do you think about the paratransit vote that happened last year? In our mind, this not only really shows us where they are coming from and kind of what their opinions are on different issues, but it also shows us their priorities, especially with like the paratransit vote example. Another question is, how will you convince car-dependent communities to invest in transit? This is more specific to maybe an RTD board seat or a local seat, but how are you going to convince your community to invest more money into transit, especially if it is more of a suburban car-dependent community? We also wrote down the question, have you ever considered going car-free? I think that's an important question of, I don't want to say character, but maybe just priorities. I think often you have these folks that talk a lot about how much they love transit and how much you're going to do for transit, but they've never once ridden it. And I think that's rather important if you're going to campaign on it. So have you ever considered going car-free? And when was the last time you've taken a bus? Do you use transit? Do you know people who use transit, et cetera, et cetera? And then we also had a bunch of questions around funding, a bunch of questions around working with other agencies, priority projects, the general stuff you'd want to ask someone running for a position. So that's kind of what we got. Thank you.
Love it. Okay, let's have group 1.
All right, so I'm writing because I wrote in code, aka cursive. And,
do they not teach that anymore in Colorado?
Apparently not. All right,
Card's not 1875.
Anyway, so we just had some questions. How do we deal with the 30% of the population that doesn't drive? That kind of gets them wondering. How do you fix traffic congestion?
We tried to do broader questions.
Right, we were trying to get broader, and some of us had local races in mind, some of us had broader races.
One more lane. But we need to let them step on a landmine. They can't be kidding me.
Right. How do we reduce greenhouse gases from transportation? What is the role of transit in the life of everyday Coloradans? What is car dependency and what are the causes? In a perfect world, what is your vision for transit? Now, that means no money is no object.
Don't say tubes.
Pause. Okay, what would you do to defend threats to transit funding? What is the major funding in your area of transit? So, like maybe, we only have the bus thing that comes out to La Junta or whatever, How can transit better serve rural areas? How would you engage your constituents in transit conversations? What are the main issues facing transit now? Very generic. What do you see as the successes of transit? So,
heck yeah.
Hopefully someone in your group can read through.
And last but not least,
and we got a nice train Christmas sweater too.
Better than RTD's actual one.
It's amazing what you can do when you're a transit agency and you actually put transit on your paraphernalia.
Hello, I'm Leo. This is my second meeting. Nice to see all of you again. Conrad in our group was kind of sharing out the philosophy of you kind of want to give an opportunity to identify red flags. Or step on a landmine, as we kind of said. And then I was also kind of throwing the other end out there, which was just give a little bit of an opportunity to share a platform, maybe more open-ended. So on the landmine side, we have things like should the board prioritize rider experience or fiscal responsibility? When was the last time you rode transit? That was a great suggestion. And where? What? And then coming into maybe some more open-ended questions, what would you prioritize, what is the #1 barrier to increased transit use? Classic question I think we mentioned a couple times. When and why would you prioritize transit over other modes of transportation and other political pressures? Right. So if you're fighting for money, or you're fighting for your PAC is pushing for specific extending the highway or whatever. When are you going to make sure this is a situation where I want to prioritize this train, for example? What policies and procedural changes would you make to improve transportation? Maybe there's something they can do to just erase bureaucracy. That's great. And then, that's the main ones. Yeah, a lot of good stuff that we've been said already.
This was pretty productive.
Thank you, everyone.
If you're just gonna hold tight for a second, Emma's got some. I was gonna say you got some updates for events and everything. So, but can't wait to kind of just still listen to
Events, yeah. We can go quick on this though. Board of Directors meeting. Like I was mentioning before, this would be a great time to talk about the proposed H-line extension in both directions, which could save the L lines. If you care about that, please comment. Please also comment about how the holiday train was a great idea and you appreciate the innovation. That'll be Tuesday, January 27th at 5:30. Please get there at least 15 minutes early.
This one is particularly important because the directors are about to be putting together their work plans for the year at a retreat. So if you want to influence them to make a specific thing a priority, this is the one.
Yep.
And just so happens, the board is going to be making a decision on whether to extend the GM CEO's contract or not.
I was going to ask about that.
So, if any of you have thoughts,
I'm sure some of you do.
Just something to think about. So,
cool. We also have the Governor's Mansion Rail event, very exciting. So, we would encourage all of you to join ColoRail. This will be Wednesday, January 21st at the Governor's Mansion from 10 a.m. to 12.
So if you have a day job that's a little tough, we are expecting some extra special guests at this event, which is why the timing is so weird. But if you tap one more forward on the slide here, one more. They're asking us, please RSVP. This is the Governor's Mansion. They have to validate everybody. So if you have a serious intention of going to this, please actually RSVP. They will eventually have to cut this off for security reasons. So please, if you want to go to this, it's free. Just please RSVP. Make sure that there's no awkwardness when you're trying to get inside. So.
Yep. And you can get there.
Do you have to be there for all 2 hours? Or is it
The QR code not working?
Can we put this on the website?
Yeah. So basically, this will be on the Slack. If you go to colorail.com and click on events, you will see this very front and center. So.
Yeah. Or reach out to any of us if you can't find it.
Seriously, yeah, I can text it to you. So.
But yeah, you can take one of two of my favorite routes to get there too, the 6 or the 10. Love them. All right, so we have our annual Winter Park Express trip. This is super exciting stuff. So this is going to be the 7 a.m. one. So I believe there's 2 different offerings. You want the earlier one, and that's going to be Sunday, February 15th. You don't have to ski to go, so Cody is actually leading a snowshoeing group.
If there's snow.
If there's snow, hopefully.
And yes, I will be making a new pair of snowshoes. Second time's the charm.
If there's not, I assume y'all go to Fraser or something. There's stuff to do. Yeah.
Yep.
There's always something.
And the hosts, there's quite a few hosts who is going to be on this trip at various levels of skiability. If you are skiers, we've got plenty of people for you to ski with.
So James and I are very different skiers. I will do the bunny slopes with you happily all day. James is a maniac, so either way around it, there's someone who skis at your level.
So the critical thing to remember is just because, and Emma flagged it, there are 2 trains that go to Fraser every day. Only one of them actually goes to the Winter Park Resort, which is where the ski group will be getting off the train.
Yeah.
So just make sure that when you book tickets, they are still available. There's still plenty available for this date. Book soon because this is a really popular service. Tickets are being subsidized by recent legislation, so this has never been more affordable and may never be this affordable again with inflation.
Yeah.
So buy now and join us. This is so terrifically fun. I am a volunteer with the Winter Park Express with ColoRail's host program. It is so much fun. even if 2025 was kind of a slop, the last bit of that, reward yourself with this. This is a great experience, and one of the most fun things we ever do is GDT, in my opinion. So, join us.
Any details on the snowshoeing? Is that the same stop, or is that going to be a different
Yep.
stop?
Essentially we'll take a local, they have the lift up there, and we'll take a local bus to essentially a hiking area that has a bunch of loops, and it's pretty gentle.
What about for gear?
For gear, if you don't have snowshoes, you can either rent them here in Denver and bring them up, or there's also locations in Winter Park that will rent snowshoes.
Real men build their own.
Tennis racket.
Also,
hopefully this time we'll be free of moose.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We ran some
See,
moose.
Cody and I were smart. We ran perpendicular. All the others were on a goose chase.
We're like a moose chase. Ayo. Okay, some more meetings to keep a lookout for. We have the FRPR meeting. Obviously, that's ramping up. That's going to be virtual, 9 a.m. Friday, January 23rd. Show up to that. We have our very own Joel Noble's Inc. Transportation Committee meeting. That's going to be 6 p.m. Thursday, March 12th. I believe that's also virtual. Denver City Council, the most fun meeting you could attend. Highly recommend. Something wild always happens. You will be entertained, I promise. And some Peña Boulevard open house.
We got two things that are one-time opportunities. Blink and you miss it. They're still trying to add another lane, but they made a mistake. They're hearing from the public. Make sure that you are the public. You have to get out to like Green Valley Ranch, but take the A line. January 22nd. Ask them to include a transit alternative in their NEPA study.
Is that location walkable from an A-line stop?
Who knows? Probably not.
Transfer from a bus, I think. You'd have to
Bring your bike. Put your bike on
Do
the
a little
train.
frogger or drive. It's for the greater good.
For the greater good.
Do anything but drive. You have to drive.
All right, another one. The sleeper agents, the shadowy cabal behind the scenes, Dr. Cog, are laying out their 30-year plan. They don't hear from the public much, but if you're willing to wake up the absolute ass crack of dawn, 8:30 a.m., they will hear from you. Online, you can also submit written comments. But there's a lot of stuff in there, a lot of pork barrel street widening, so say maybe not.
Cool. And then this is just a little sneak peek and a reminder of our big trip for this year, the Pacific Northwest trip, which is super duper exciting.
Y'all like rain?
Yeah. Although I think we'll still be in the dry season when we're heading out. We haven't locked down a date yet, but we have like a general idea.
We've got a general idea. The problem is the projects we are going to see have gotten pushed back multiple times, and we are not going to waste all of our money going out there again.
Yep.
I was there last summer. This East Link was supposed to be open 3 years ago. So when we go for Seattle, this train will be running.
Also, dumb reason to go, but this is objectively the most beautiful Amtrak train. The green Cascades is just stunning. So get to ride it. And we love the Pacific Northwest. So this will be huge. We're anticipating one day PTO for white collar jobs?
Yeah, one optional too, because basically you will have the option to fly back from Seattle if you do not have a passport. If you do have a passport, highly encourage riding the train over the border to Canada.
Yep.
While they're still letting us in, of course. So.
Yeah. So super exciting. We'll keep you posted on that, but save your PTO, folks.
Do you know if there's Wi-Fi in the train?
Yeah.
There is Wi-Fi. Is it good Wi-Fi? We will find out. This is the first time we will be experiencing Wi-Fi on an Aero set. They are going to be hopefully brand new, so we will find out.
There's a chance it'll be on this specific train because they might not have them all in service.
At least this is a fairly populated part of the country that it's going through. So
Yes,
I think it
and
will be
we
terrible.
have allies in Seattle who are going to help us. So.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, and that's it. And we are officially returning to Terminal Bar. So easy walk down, but thank you for coming. Appreciate y'all. June Churchill.
Overcorrected. We're 3 minutes early.
Thank you. Okay, can I do some quickly? I do some stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So other very quick thing, CDOT is getting feedback on the I-270 project. That is a monster to the Transportation Commission now.
And if you need to get connected with Green Latinos, talk to June, because she'll connect you with them.
I will connect you with them, and also a little bit of self-promo. Dottie Advisory Board, if you want to talk about local transportation stuff in Denver. We meet every second Tuesday at 4 p.m. I'm now the co-chair. I want more people to show up and to
Yeah,
give
we
public
had
testimony.
0 comments last time, so that's not great. Y'all should comment. There are things happening in the city worth.
The last long on transportation advisory board.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but just wanted to do that because there was a little bit of extra time, and I wasn't going to make us more late. That's my piece.
Thanks, June. We're not even late. Okay, but yeah, meeting adjourned.
Oh, well, one final note. There is a piece of news that we neglected to mention, and I'm going to offer our very own Director Nicholson to provide some little bit of good news.
Thank you. Very excited about this, James. If you don't mind pulling up a web browser on your screen. And typing yes, and typing in, no, get rid of the www. Typing in rtd-dashboard.rtd-denver.com.
A lot of dashes.
Yes. What you'll see here
is a test.
Is a test of a tool that will go live in 5 days that the board will be using. I forget who brought up the fact that we'll be working on our work plans. One of the challenges, yes, that the board has is that we can't talk to each other outside of meetings with more than 2 of us at a time. We notice the meetings for these discussions because typically myself, Brett, and sometimes Matt are here, which allows us to have those discussions. But I'm not allowed to text 2 board members at once, if you can believe that. And I'm certainly not allowed to text 9 of them. Over the last year, alongside our general counsel, we developed a tool that allows us to have essentially discussions in Microsoft Teams with the entire board all at once in real time, asynchronously over, again, Teams. And because it's being published in real time to this web page, it is compliant with open meetings. And so for the first time, and we are, as far as we know, the only agency in the state of Colorado that has found a solution to this, we will be able to collaborate on our work plans, not just in the meeting that was mentioned, but digitally as well. So watch this space. I'm sure I posted it cryptically to the Slack, but we will be having discussions about all 4 of our work plans using this tool. It's a pilot for this one thing, but if it goes well and nobody breaks COML and violates the law or anything like that, if everything goes fine, I expect to see us make use of this for future discussions so that we can actually get work done in the month at a time that we have between our actual meetings. And it'll be a great way for the public to actually keep track of what we're talking about rather than me just texting all of the board members repeatedly back and forth, which is kind of what happens now. So, yes?
I want to make a recommendation. Jack can correct me if you're Android, but if you're an iOS user and you want to stay up to date on this stuff, I would highly recommend open the webpage in Safari, add to home screen, and you have a little app that's just this page that you can just pop in, check on the board, updated comms. There's probably a way to do it on Android.
Yeah, what's the Android translation?
It's the same way. It's you do it the same way you do with the NextRight app, which isn't an app.
NextRight is not an app.
So if you
stop
fancy
calling it
yourself
that.
a bit of a civic voyeur, I guess you can lurk and watch them work.
Chris, is this going to take you away from Reddit?
Well,
that would be good.
I'm not
Let's
allowed.
hope so.
I mean, we currently can't really do board collaboration on Reddit, so I don't go to Reddit to talk
r/RTD
about
board.
our upcoming work plan and whether we should prioritize the downtown bus plan or Christopher's Rhino Ride or any number of other.
When did it become Christopher's Rhino Ride?
I don't know. I got elected. Now I can just appropriate everything. But seriously, like that, yes. There's any number of things we can work on, and it really was horrible to have those conversations either at the board meeting, in 30 minutes at a retreat, or me just literally texting each person, getting feedback. It was disorganized and slow and inaccurate, and this way we'll really be able to get a sense of what everyone is thinking, the same way that we do in the time. What this really grew out of, quite honestly,
was all of the GDT people who ran and got elected realized the moment we got elected, we couldn't talk about transit policy in the Slack if it was going to be something that the board would cover, because that would be a violation of open meetings. And so it took us a year, but we got to a point where we now can basically do what we were doing in the Slack prior to getting elected, but with the entire rest of the board. And I'm really, really, really fucking excited about it. So.
Nice.
Yep.
All right, to progress, everyone.
Good question.
File sharing and images work in this.
Band, and I think images also. We have intentionally limited the number of and types of things that can be done in order to make sure we are 1,000% compliant. You can't edit your messages, for
We're gonna be
example.
uploading
which
Doom
you
every
can
day.
How do you
in
share
order to make sure
GIFs though?
Also banned.
It's pronounced yaw.
We can use emojis, but they ask us not to because it's hard for screen readers.
What about emoticons?
Okay, bother Chris at the bar. Bother Chris
All
at the
right.
bar.